The entire team at the Emsolation podcast acknowledges the traditional custodians and cultures of the lands and seas on which we live and work. We pay our respects to all First Nations peoples, elders and ancestors. We acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and stand in solidarity towards a shared future. I personally want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I record this podcast every week, the Wurundjeri people. I recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place I call home. Always was, always will be.
M. Rusciano.
I've just been sitting there in the corner clutching my little anxiety blanket, just lost in these sex scenes.
And Michael Lucas.
How does it not look like you've got an enormous wang on the stage?
This is Emsolation.
Not that you're in any way biased.
How dare you? How dare you point out exactly what I am?
You're in Emsolation.
Well, hello there and welcome to Emsolation. My name is Em Rusciano. I'm a writer, a singer, a stand-up comedian, a maximalist power queen, a neurodivergent magic brain, a podcaster. And together with my best friend since I was 11, screenwriter and podcaster, Mr. Michael Lucas, I bring you this show once a week to chat about all the things that, have affected Michael and I during the week. And it could be anything. Honestly, it might be something from the newspaper, the current events. It might just be, I don't know, if one of us lay on a stage and cried for 5 minutes, which I did at the International Women's Day event that I spoke at. Yes, if you were there, you'll know it was a magical experience. We talk about that during the podcast, so I won't bore you with the details now, but it was the first time I'd been on stage in quite a long time. And when I walked out, I was very overwhelmed, and in the lead up to it, I kept saying to my husband, I don't know that I know how to remember to do this. I'm a bit afraid. And turned out it was all okay. But I did cry, but you'll find out why. It's all good.
How about we turn that frown upside down?
Speaking of live shows, our live show at the Malt House is 20 tickets off selling out. So I'm calling it a sellout. So it is with a great excitement that I announce we will be live streaming the show to all of you who can't be there on April the 12th, Tuesday night. If you can't be there, you'll be able to watch it with us live. Yep, we're doing it. When I saw how quickly we sold all the tickets and how many of you were, please, can we do it? Bear in mind, it's not an easy thing to do a live stream from a theatre. I'm not Beyonce, but we're going to make it happen. So I'll put all the details up. Ben will put it in the newsletter. No matter where you are in the world, you will be able to watch the Emsolation second birthday live show. It's shaping up to be quite a fantastic evening. Now, remember, as time of recording, there's about 20 tickets left. They are right up the back in the balcony, but don't worry, I'm so loud and I'll be so sparkly. You'll have an amazing experience. You'll also get to meet other Melbourne-based Emsolators. So if you can come live, snap those last few tickets up. But for those of you who can't, you'll be able to, from the comfort of your own home, no matter where you are, be involved. Because, of course, I want you all to be there and involved. So it's very exciting. All the details will be up on all the socials. All right, that's it from me. Play the music.
M. Rusciano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Michael Lucas, welcome. We've just been discussing off-air the Madonna biopic, so we're going straight into it. We both have a lot of other things we want to talk about. I cried on stage, you cried at a theatre show, but before we get to that, the Madonna biopic. Now, look, you're obviously out of the two of us, superior Madonna fan.
Thank you.
I'll cop it. What do
Correct.
we know so far about this movie?
Firstly, she does not call it a biopic.
Oh.
She calls it a visual autobiography.
A visual autobiography?
She is writing it and she will direct it.
So they want me to star in it, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Oh my God. Written by Madonna, directed by Madonna. And I can just see her screaming off camera, no, do it like this, and then walking in and acting the scene. If she doesn't end up acting and playing in this, I'll be very surprised.
Look, I think Instagram is about 2 months away from inventing a filter that could take her back to the mid-20s Madonna, pretty much. But she would, I believe, be one of the first people in history to direct their own biopic.
A visual autobiography?
Sorry, visual autobiography. It's been happening. She's been developing it for ages.
Yes.
And I can tell you that she launched into it because someone dared to write a script called Blonde Ambition about the early part of her career. I have, of course, read it. She was very offended by it. And she said,
There is nobody on this planet that can write or direct and make a movie about me better than me.
and so that's what she's committed herself to.
This is so on brand and exciting that she's like, I'm doing this. I am going to direct it. I'm going to write it. She's also co-writing it.
Totally.
I'm going to produce it. And then also, and this is why we're talking about it, The Guardian put out a hysterical article. I loved it, talking about the Madonna boot camp. The women who are yet to be cast have had to go through. So the front runners are Florence Pugh,
Yep.
correct? And Julia Garner from Ozark, who I now only know as Anna from Inventing Anna. Why are you so obsessed with me? Why you look poor? She's amazing. I do not have time for you. I do not have time for this.
I do not have time for this. I do not have time for you.
Both of them quite good physical matches for Madonna back in the day.
Yes, and one of the girls from Euphoria, Alexa Demi. But the hot male is on Julia Garner. That's who we're hearing is like the front runner.
Really?
Yes. We want Florence Pugh as
I
Madonna
want
fans.
Florence Pugh.
Yes.
She can sing and dance, I believe. And I
And
think
looks like her.
so much.
Uncannily.
Absolutely.
What did everyone just see Florence Pugh in? The
Little
Black
Women.
Widow. Oh. You're so gay. I love you.
But I should also add, someone else is daring to play Madonna at the moment. Evan Rachel Wood is playing Madonna because they are making another biopic about Weird Al Yankovic, in which Madonna has a critical role because, of course, one of his most famous songs was the spoof of Like a Virgin, Like a Surgeon. And
How could we forget?
yeah, so she's been posting pictures of herself playing Madonna. But I think Madonna would look at that and go, no, she's a bit old to play. As I understand it, from watching the incredibly long Instagram live session she's done live from the writing room.
Now, is the writing room just her and the mirror?
No.
Because she did sack Diablo Cody.
She has done one extended one with Diablo Cody, who's an amazing Oscar-winning screenwriter who did Juno
Yes.
and actually wrote the musical Jagged Little Pill.
Yes. And that
Basically-
did not last long, that union.
It did not last long. No, we don't know why.
Gosh, Yaldo, get your timeline right.
We do know that she sentenced Diablo to incredibly long Instagram lives that were intensely lit in her elaborate drawing room as she sort of drank white wine and made provocative poses on a couch.
I see my future with you and I.
Totally. Me too. It was very familiar. So for some reason, something went wrong there. And so now she has a new one. Do you have the name? It's
It is Erin Cressida Wilson.
who wrote the movie Secretary with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Apparently the movie, it was originally very expansive, trying to cover a great chunk of her career, but apparently now it just goes up until the Blonde Ambition tour. So we're just looking at the first sort of 7 years.
Yes. So the Madonna boot camp for these women apparently consists of 11-hour sessions with Madonna's choreographer, followed by further choreography sessions with Madonna herself, followed by readings with Madonna and singing Madonna songs with Madonna to Madonna in front of Madonna.
I am my own experiment. I am my own work of art.
It's either torture or my personal vision of heaven.
And then once this successful woman is actually cast, they then apparently face further months of Madonna training prior to shooting before being directed by Madonna in the art of acting like Madonna. I fucking love her so much. This is so outrageous. I can't think of anything better. And like some of you may be asking, has Madonna even directed a movie before? Has
Oh
she?
my word, she has.
What is the name of that blessed film?
There's more than one.
Oh, God.
There was one called Filth and Wisdom.
Filth and Wisdom, and I just want to read a quote from an article written from The Guardian, and they reviewed it. Peter Bradshaw described it as incredibly bad, and then went on to say, she's made a movie so incredibly bad that the Berlin festival goers were staggering around yesterday in a state of clinical shock, deathly pain, and mewing like maltreated kittens.
I have seen it.
What was wrong with the direction?
I don't know that it was so much the direction. I think maybe the writing was
There
a
were
little
other
bit.
issues?
Yeah.
And what else has she directed?
Another movie called W.E., which was about Wallace Simpson. I've also seen that.
And?
Look,
Yeah.
It was like an extended music video clip. I don't think it was quite the horror show that people made it out to be, but fair to say it was not acclaimed. In terms of Madonna's movie career, it's just important to have a strict focus on Desperately Seeking Susan,
Dick Tracy.
A League of Their Own, Dick Tracy, In Bed with Madonna and Evita, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Just don't
Who
look
cares?
anywhere else.
Don't care for it.
You might hear some words like Shanghai Surprise, Who's That Girl? The next best thing, Swept Away.
That's impossible, you idiot.
What? No.
Swept away. I forgot about Swept Away.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Michael and I are already giving it 5 stars and it hasn't been written.
I just hope someone is filming this boot camp. That's what I want to
Oh,
see.
we need a behind-the-scenes Netflix doco style, like what they do for F1.
What they did for the Beatles. We need the 10 hours. We need every minute of this boot camp.
I just last night realised that they don't spell Beatles like Beatles, that it's actually a pun on
No,
the
it's
word
a
beat. I
BA.
did not even... That did not... Am I the only one in the world? So Beetle is B-E-E-T-L-E. And the band spell it B-E-A-T-L-E.
Yeah, because it's
And
the beat. It's a
I
bad pun.
did not know that. I did not know that. In my mind and heart, I know how to spell the word Beetle, but then when I see it written in conjunction with the band and in reference to the band, my brain just adjusts.
I did remember there was a certain point that I realised they had misspelled Beetle, but I'm going to put that at about grade 2. But no shade. Could have happened to all of us.
All shade.
Girl, the shade of it all.
All shade. So, yeah, look, I'm excited. I'm so excited. And it's just, I'm telling you, I'm tipping if she doesn't end up playing the title role, I'll
That
be
feels
very
like the inevitable end
surprised.
game. And I'm kidding.
Just her slamming the headphones down and just firing.
No one can do it than me.
Do it better. Do it more like me. Be me. That's going to be your directions. No, more like me. Absolutely cannot wait. All right, well, moving on from our favourite topic, we have, look, there's obviously a lot of heavy stuff going in the world. So we thought we'd talk about the shows that have been totally distracting us.
Yes.
And I have been watching the sequel to Vikings Valhalla.
You are here because you are Vikings!
It's 100 years after the legend of Ragnar Lothbrok. And it's everything I want.
Is it?
I'm going to tell you. The hot guy from Sabrina is there, the new Sabrina. He played the Dirt Prince and he plays a Viking. There's another guy, I think he's an Australian guy.
Yeah,
They
that's
played
right.
2 Vikings. I don't
met
remember.
him.
What?
Yeah, you know this. I met him after the actors. He is good friends with Roy Joseph, who plays Harry in 5 Bedrooms. And after the actor awards, I was introduced to a tall, long-haired, sort of elfin-looking dude. And then I was told, oh, he's in the new Vikings. And I didn't quite understand it. But I did make sure to get a picture because I thought Em's going to... In fact, multiple women in my life are going to be obsessed with this guy.
Oh, mate. Odie came in, my middle child, and she's like, the new Vikings, the lead guy is so hot. And I was like, oh, my God, finally we agree on something because, you know, she's into Timothy Chalamet, who basically looks like a malnourished orphan.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And I'm into big, hairy Viking men.
Oh,
But
he is. He does sit
we've met
nicely
in the middle. Yes!
He also looks a bit like that footballer that you found the fake picture of their penis. He looks a little bit like that to me.
Bailey Smith.
Bailey, yes.
He does look a bit like him. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. It's just hot men banging up against each other with swords. It's everything you want. It's nothing new, like they're trying to invade England, blah, blah, blah. There's, you know, it's so good. It's just, oh my God, I love it so much. I don't know why. I can't explain my proclivity to violent men with beards. Otherwise, I hate violence. I can't do it. I'll watch Drag Race straight after. But there's just something about, but I think it's the same reason I used to love WWE when I grew up. I loved
you?
the wrestling. Yeah.
But that, at least they're wearing campy outfits. I suppose they are in Vikings
it's
too, aren't
essentially
they?
drag. It is.
Yeah.
Like, I was obsessed with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Like me. I used to love the wrestling. And I think it's for the same reason. It was big men bouncing off each other, but the bonus was they were dressed in drag. So it was tick, 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 tick,
drag
tick my box.
wrestling,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, you've been watching something that you've been trying to force on me.
I have, but it physically pains me that you won't watch it. And not just me. Chella has watched it. She's inhaled it. How could 2 of the most important people in your life, time and time again, recommend this show? Anyway, just listen to the premise.
Okay.
It's called Young Royals. Already I thought
I'm
you'd
on.
be in.
Of course. Yeah, I'm in. They're young. They're royal. Great.
Yeah,
tick.
so we're in Sweden.
Oh.
And the young teenage Prince Harry-esque prince, he's in a bit of trouble. He's angry and he's going to nightclubs and he's getting in trouble with the paparazzi. So his parents toughen up on him and they send him to an exclusive boarding school where several other, like, less important royals go.
A boarding school scenario.
Yes.
Okay, now you're being interesting.
And the boarding school has obviously this prince and other side royals, but it also has incredibly privileged kids of wealthy tech billionaires. But in addition to that, just a few poor people
Scholarship
from the
kids.
town.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got
exactly,
it. Okay.
Exactly.
People from the wrong side of the tracks.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so one of those people is this insanely beautiful looking town boy who sort of has a bit of a Latino background. And he is also a spectacular vocalist. Like the first time we see him, he's singing like an absolute
They're
angel.
singing as well. They're young, they're royal, they're at boarding school, and they're singing.
And then in addition to that, the prince kind of falls in love with the guy.
Wait.
So it's gay.
They're gay.
It's gay.
It's gay.
Yeah. Well,
Gay.
the prince is sort of saying, he constantly says, I'm not, but
He's gay.
he's gay.
It's gay.
It's essentially, it's a gay love
I
affair.
love gay
it's
love
a hot
stories.
gay love affair.
Hot stuff coming through.
He's the prince. He's expected to eventually,
Can't be gay.
take his place. Can't be gay.
Can't be gay.
What will happen?
No
what
gay.
will happen?
Don't be gay.
And let me tell you, they know how to milk the gay angst. Like the number
Careful
of
how you say
times-
they learn how to milk a gay. Just be careful.
No, well,
Yeah.
the number of times they bring you to a point of they make sure to end on a smouldering look, or maybe even a little bit further than that.
Is
You
it
just have
like
to watch.
Fran Fine and Mr. Sheffield?
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
They
It is
drag
a
it
bit
out
like
like
that,
that.
but I will say one thing that troubled me was it's Netflix. It comes up, and then you know how it comes up with the rating there, and then it comes up, and the first thing you see is strong sex scenes. I feel like I should just say to everyone that applies to the series as a whole. You'll get it, but not the first episode. So when it came up, we were like, oh, strong sex scenes, and then we saw like the lead actors, and we're like, okay, but they're going to make you work for it. I mean, it is subtitled. I do want to say that.
I feel
but
like, I can do it as long as I'm not tired. Oh my God, I've just become my father.
it will keep you awake. You will be obsessed with it.
Oh, no, I mean, you've sold me. Gay love story,
Gay love
tick,
story.
my favourite kind. Musical, yes.
Royalty.
Boarding school, royalty. Hot young youth-oriented storylines. Yeah, I'm a youth.
Yeah.
I'm a youth. In my mind, when I see something, there's a new YA fiction out. Oh, I'll be into that. I am the core demographic for people making art and content for 10 to 20-year-old people.
It's basically Twilight, but with gay,
You've gone too far.
gay Swedish princes instead of vampires and werewolves.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to hose off. We're going to go away. We're going to come back. Now, we're doing something we haven't done in a while. Bridget, who is an emsulator and a wonderful woman, she's on the Facebook group. She put up this beautiful post talking about how she's 41 and realised she's not going to have kids. And a lot of you jumped on this, and I asked her if she wouldn't mind recording it and sending it. So next, we're going to have a chat and help one of you, hopefully help. That's next.
M. Rusciano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
And we're back. Before we get to Bridget, I just want to thank the women of Gippsland, of Warragul, who turned up to my keynote address last night. International Women's Day occurred this week, and I was invited to speak in front of 800 people at the West Gippsland Art Centre. So we went out there, Scott drove me. Now, this, bear in mind, it's just a little speech that it's like you get on the corporate circuit and you go and you talk about your life and the lessons you've learned. And it's meant to be quite straight-laced. Footballers do them, CEOs do them. It's a thing. It's a TED Talk. But I lost my little mind. I haven't been on stage in a year, and I went out there with my script. It was all numbered. I was going to stick to it. And I had a lady in the crowd who I was going to ask how long I've been going for. And at the 28-minute mark, when I asked, I hadn't actually gotten off the first page of my 20-page script.
This is a syndrome that you do have. Like, when often the first night of M's tours, I'm often aware of what the structure of the script is, and often I'm sitting there in the audience going, she's still in the introduction. We have 5 minutes to go. But you acknowledge it on stage, generally.
It was nuts. And I went on lots of side quests, and it was fine. But what happened was at the end of it, they gave me a standing ovation.
Aww.
Which Which doesn't often happen in keynotes because they're often a bit stuffy and boring.
Bit dry.
Yeah, but
And safe. They're normally very safe.
Yeah.
Because people prepare something that could work for any audience.
yeah, but I talked about like having an explosive period when the plane
course you
landed
did.
when I came into Idol. And there were women in the room breastfeeding their children and some of them were calling out and openly crying. Like it was this whole kind of revival church event. And there was some councillors from the local council sitting in there, like 2 or 3 men, and I could just see them looking like they'd gone through some kind of, they were shell-shocked, I think would be the appropriate.
For a second, when you said counsellors, I thought you meant counsellors. Like they looked at the audience and said, they're going to need some treatment. Call them in. Call them in right now, which I would support.
Well, when they started clapping, as we all know, I have trouble regulating my emotions. I lay down on the stage and cried. And then one of the ladies in the Q&A asked me what kind of athlete I was, and I said, I'm a hurdler, let me show you. So then I took my shoes off and hurdled on stage in a short leather skirt, and the front row definitely saw what I had for breakfast.
Wow.
But, like, I just felt the need to run and hurdle, and I just kept jogging as I answered questions because my whole body was, like, buzzing.
Yeah.
And they just were great and accepted it. And I just want to say thank you very much for holding me because this showgirl was very scared to do it and it was amazing. And thanks. This poor girl, Jade, when I arrived, her job is to wrangle the councillors and stuff. And she's like, now, can you let me know exactly how many minutes does your keynote go for? And then let's program in how long should the Q&A go for? You know, like, and do you want to be off at a certain time? And I said, Jade, this isn't going to be like normal speeches. I don't know. And poor Jade was sitting in the audience. I just kept referencing her. Jade's having a heart attack. Poor Jade. Oh, Jade, I said I wouldn't swear. I'm fucking sorry, Jade.
I bet you did.
Yeah, a lot of
They would have
swears.
been cool with that in
Yeah,
Warragul.
it's fine. If they're not, too bad. So anyway, thanks for having me.
Oh, I also have been in standing ovation land.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so beautiful. I went to see the musical Fun Home, one of the last performances, and it was an extremely unusual one because right before curtain, the director came out and he said it was an unusual show because the lead had gone down with COVID. Right at the end of the season, they only had 3 more performances and they didn't have the heart to cancel because there were different sets of kids that played also lead characters and they didn't want to tell those kids we couldn't go on. So he had rung an actor who had like not ever rehearsed the show or anything like that. Her name was Dione Zanotto. And at midday, she got a call saying, we need you to come on and try and save the show. Yeah, so she put her little earbuds in. I mean, I can't even imagine the freak out. It's literally my worst. In fact, I have had nightmares about that, being told go on stage and you don't know anything. Yeah. So she put her headphones in, started listening to the Spotify playlist and just trying to learn the songs.
Oh my gosh.
And she had to like carry the script with her. Yeah. But needless to say, the audience just got so behind it. And then she came out. She was exceptional. She had a flawless accent. The cast around her were just beautiful. Like the little kids that played the younger versions of her would sort of guide her into position. And the audience was just, it was such an ovation. And for me, I don't think that I've properly processed what the pandemic has been like for artists and how hard it's been, like artists that can't work or that can work, but it's hell. And something about seeing her sail through this and do the riskiest thing, and especially seeing these little children, it was their last performance, seeing them be so kind to her and to help literally guide her into the light. I was in total tears. And by the end, she'd obviously put in the work to really learn the final big crescendo songs. And so she was able to sort of put the script aside and just go with it. Standing ovations.
God. Oh, my God.
Galore.
Of course.
Galore.
Oh, God. That's the beauty of live theatre, and you can't top it. I felt the
It was
same
electric.
thing. It is.
Electric.
When you're all in a space having the same experience and the emotions are in the air. Like, I felt that last night too, and she would have felt it, the audience holding you, that you were all holding her, and that's what gave her the confidence to do it. Because if you've got an audience that isn't leaning in and wanting you to succeed in that moment, it's very hard to rise to the occasion. Like, if I didn't get a few ladies yelling out, "Come on, Em," because when I walked out on stage, I got teary straight away, and I was like, I stopped, and a couple like, "You can do it," and I was like, "Yes, I can."
The communal experience.
Go and see live shows now that it's all opened up again. The Melbourne Comedy Festival's coming up. Go and support live artists. It's such a big deal.
Oh, truly. And I've seen 4 live shows post-Omicron now, and everyone has been in their own way electric.
Beautiful.
Electric.
Yeah. Before we go, let's have a listen to Emsalator Bridget, who sent in this voicemail. We want to help her out. Have a listen.
This is a question for all the single ladies over 40. I went on a date last night. It was one of many very disappointing dates I've been on since the beginning of the year. I gave myself a year off last year and thought maybe it might be different after a break from dating. It was, in fact, not different. I came away from last night terribly sad at the very real prospect of never meeting someone to share life with. I'm 41, and over the last couple of years, I've slowly been mourning the very real fact that I probably won't have children. I don't earn enough, nor have any family, so doing it on my own isn't an option. But last night, the real grief of the loss of all those dreams of family and getting to share your life with someone really hit. I honestly thought I would just meet someone, but apparently I'm not designed for that. I mentioned this to a couple of friends this morning, but they replied with the standard lines: kids aren't easy, relationships are hard work, you should be grateful for what you have. I understand relationships are hard work. I also teach primary and understand, in a way, how much work children can be. I am grateful for what I have. It's more how to grieve knowing that what seemingly came to others with time has passed you by. So my question is, finally, how did others manage this? Did you do anything to help you get over that loss?
Well, Bridget, first of all, I'm really sorry about your shitty friends, because saying to someone who is genuinely grieving not being able to, or thinking children mightn't happen for her, is really minimising your experience and your pain and your grief, and saying, oh, kids aren't that great or relationships are hard that's pretty shit.
I'm jealous of you.
Oh, no. It's pretty awful. So I just, first off the bat, want to say to you, Bridget, your grief is completely correct and right and not over the top, because as women, our entire purpose, we've been told and brought up in everyone's society, that's your centre point. Everything's building up to having children. That's why we're here. And it's hard not to absorb that throughout your whole life. As, you know, people have phases in their life. You meet someone, you get engaged, you get married, you buy the house, you have kids. Like, there's these markers. And when your life deviates from these markers, you would question, what's my purpose?
Yeah.
And you're obviously, guys, Michael's gay.
That's right.
And
in case you didn't pick it from the hysterical 15-minute long discussion of Madonna's biopic.
But I know, and obviously I surround myself with a lot of homosexual men, I know that the grief at not meeting those markers extends to you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, when it was dawning on me that I was of the gay in my 20s, absolutely. The most difficult thing about it wasn't anything particularly, I mean, I'm sure there was sort of gay shame mixed in with it as well. But the main thing was I just felt like this is going to make it hard for me to have kids, if not impossible. That's how I felt at the time. And obviously I just want to acknowledge that, of course, you know, there are options, but it's certainly not the route that I was imagining, and it's not easy at all. And I was someone that unusually, like, my sister started having kids when I was 9 years old. She was 20 years older than me. Just wanted to. She
yeah, you're much younger than your sibling.
So I had babies around me. I was always very comfortable with babies and kids. And
you are.
And,
you're magic with kids. They love you.
And I just always, I never, I was just one of those people that never ever doubted that they would become a father. Never. And then all of a sudden I was faced with this thing of, it really might not happen, or certainly not in the way you imagined in it. And if it does happen, it's likely not to be easy. And absolutely, it was grief. I mean, I didn't label it as such at the time.
Well, we don't, do we?
And I couldn't talk about it at the time because, you know, it was all consumed with other things.
Yeah.
But, I would say it, I wish I could say something else, but I would say that sort of dogged me for a couple of years there, probably.
But I think if you're a woman, I don't think it's something you'll ever shake. I don't think this is a thing that you need to look at as, oh, I'll grieve and I'll get over it. I think that yearning, if it has entered your body, will always be there. You can't turn it off. So I think just accepting that, first of all, it's totally, absolutely you would be grieving and it would be devastating. And, you know, I say this as a smug person with 3 children, and I don't pretend to know how you feel, but I think you'll always have this sense of loss because, you know, in the most simplistic level, you have been conditioned your whole life to think that's why you're here. And then when you don't do the thing, it's like, well, what's next? And I think, you know, people shouldn't say also, oh, there's IVF and there's adoption and there's like...
the practical reality. Because people say that, I'm shocked at how much people just flat out ask me, are you and Adrian going to have kids? How? What are you going to do? Well, like, firstly, those are pretty private discussions. And also, it's tricky. Like, people say adoption. It's hard in Australia.
Hard. It is.
And international
expensive.
adoption is hard for a gay couple.
Yeah.
And then people say, oh, well, what about like you could go to America and use surrogacy and everything. But we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, an enormous commitment.
But for a woman also, it's a different experience to, actually having a biological child and going through the pregnancy and birthing that child. It's a different experience caring for someone else's child. It's another new kind of pivot for someone who still has to grieve the fact that their own body isn't maybe going to do it like they thought it would. And, after I lost Ray, I realised how much I wanted another baby. And then when I was kind of told, well, you're 40 and this was a miracle in itself and it's probably not going to happen. And I already had to, so I'm not comparing myself to you in any way, Bridget, but I remember feeling a sense of, well, no, this should be my choice. I really want another baby. And I would have friends who would fall pregnant and I would be happy for them in one space, but then I would go home and feel devastated that it happened for them and why isn't it happening for me? So, I think the only advice, I looked around and I watched a great TED Talk that I want to recommend, Jodie Day, and it's called The Lost Tribe of Childless Women. And the big thing I took away from a lot of the stuff I read is find your community, find other women. And I noticed when Bridget was writing the post, I noticed in the comments underneath it was already happening. A lot of women in our Facebook group were saying, this is me also. I think if you can find your community, find other women who are grieving as you are, I know that helps. It certainly helped me when I've been going through something and feeling isolated to find other people having a similar life experience and finding out what they do and, commiserating with each other and truly knowing what the other is feeling, I think is a great way to process it and reconcile it a little bit. I also want to say, Michael and I both want to say to you, you're only 41. Don't give up on meeting someone. You're definitely gonna meet someone, Bridget. You're out there dating, and I don't know how people date now.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I'm intrigued too, but I don't think she should give up on meeting someone.
No, but obviously at 41, you're starting to realise even if you met someone tomorrow, it's going to be very, very hard to have a child with them. And
you're looking at a different type of relationship.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be different. You're not going to be looking to, if you meet a man and then you'd be worried, well, what if he wants to have kids and I can't? Also, as I always say, you've probably got great love in your life elsewhere that isn't romantic. And for the moment, if you can focus on that, the kids you teach at school, I bet they love you.
True.
Well, Bridget, we hope we've helped you, but we acknowledge and see you, and your grief is totally appropriate.
Yeah, totally. It's also, and I know it's all got consumed because this sort of grief is hard to talk about, unfortunately, because in some ways, to talk about grief over not having children is just tricky in the landscape when we're trying to embrace feminism and women being. It's a hard thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But I think that we're absolutely evolved enough in the discussion of feminism and to realise it's necessary to talk about that grief and to feel that grief. And that's just the only way to move through it is to feel it.
Yeah, I agree.
And articulate it.
Yes. All right. Well, look, I feel like we went everywhere today. Good job. Well done. You okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, that's it from us. Michael Lucas, I'll talk to you. I mean, obviously I'll talk to you tonight, but I'll see you next week. Thank you.
You will indeed.
For your stunning contribution. And look, you're now the official Madonna biopic.
Autobiography.
A visual autobiography.
Visual autobiography. If you hear any news, feel free to give us updates. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's just, I wish I could offer my services as a consultant because I'm pretty sure I remember more about that era than she does. I really do.
Amazing. All right, see you later.
Bye.
This is Emsolation.
All right, gang. Well, you've got some TV shows to watch, and it caters, doesn't it? You could do Vikings, you could do Young Royals. What else? I've been doing Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, inhaling the new episodes. It's funny. I've got little days. So I've got 2 Drag Race series that I've been watching. I've got Marvelous Mrs. Maisel coming out every week, The Gilded Age coming out every week. What else am I I'm appointment watching? I've got all these great little shows, and I must tell you about a podcast. Holy Christ. It's called Sweet Bobby. It's 6 episodes. I listened to it in 2 days. It's a scam podcast. It's a love scam podcast. And the twist. Sweet Bobby. Okay, that's your podcast homework this week. Once you've done this and you're looking for something else to listen to, I cannot recommend it enough. You'll sit there, I made Marcella listen to it, my daughter, social media captain, and she took a photo of her face when she heard the twist and sent it to me. It's brilliant. It's so good. 6 eps, do it. You will not regret it, I promise. Thanks for being here. Make sure you do check out the wonderful Marcella's socials at Emsolation Podcast. Get on board for the newsletter. That'll have all the live stream information for our 2nd birthday. Thank you very much for being here. God, I'm saying all this so fast, aren't I? I'm just going to take a breath. And again, to everyone who was at the event for International Women's Day, and happy International Women's Day to all the incredible women out there. I know, I see you, don't worry. And to everyone who was at that event, it truly, I think it's probably one of my favourite gigs I've ever done. Really, it was great. It made me remember I can do it. Have a great week. We'll chat soon. Bye for now.
Emsolation with Em Rusciano is a Spotify exclusive podcast hosted by Em Rusciano with Michael Lucas. Executive produced by Benjamin Wasley. Produced by Em Rusciano. Edited by Ezekiel Fan at Entente Music. With videos by Liam O'Brien. Socials by Marcella Rusciano Barrow. With assistance from Jem Evans and Georgia Watts. Plus occasional technical wizardry, wine and coffee from Em's dad Vincey. Get more Emsolation by following the Emsolation podcast on Instagram, where you can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. You can join other Emsolators at the Emsolation group on Facebook. The answer is Harry Styles. If you love what we do, share this podcast with a friend and make sure you're following us on the Spotify app. Thanks for taking time out to listen to this week's episode, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.